Welcome back to my channel. Master Stoic today, we're breaking down one of the most confusing realities in modern dating. Why women become more attracted to the man who walks away. A lot of men don't understand this. They believe that if you show a woman how much you care, stay consistent, stay patient, and prove your devotion, eventually she'll reward your effort. But in many cases, the opposite happens. The more you stick around, the less she values you. The moment you pull back, suddenly, her interest spikes. Welcome back to the channel where we teach men how to see the dynamics most people never talk about. Because what we're dealing with here isn't about logic or fairness. It's about human nature. Attraction isn't built on constant availability. It's built on desire, uncertainty, and perceived value. When you walk away, when you show her that you're not dependent on her attention, that your world moves with or without her, you trigger a completely different emotional response inside her. You're no longer the man chasing her. You become the man she feels she could lose. And loss is one of the most powerful emotional triggers there is. In this video, I'm going to teach you exactly why walking away often flips the dynamic in your favor. We'll break down the psychology behind why it works, what mistakes most men make, and how you can position yourself as the man she doesn't want to lose instead of the man she tolerates. Let's get into it. Before we start the video, I want to remind you that my exclusive online course on mastering the dating game is available now. If you've been learning from my YouTube videos, you're only scratching the surface. This course goes deeper, teaching you everything you need to know about the dating game, from approaching a woman to building real attraction. We just finished section 5 in the course, and you won't find this information on videos on my channel. It's easy to access with a secure payment option. Visit stoicapproachtolife.podia.com or click the link in the description to enroll now and improve your dating life. 1. Chasing lowers your value. One of the chasing lowers your value. Biggest reasons women lose interest in men is because they start chasing. And the moment you start chasing, your value in her eyes drops fast. When a man chases, he signals that he needs her more than she needs him. He becomes the one seeking approval, waiting for attention, and trying to prove he's worth her time. This flips the natural dynamic completely. Instead of her seeing you as a high-value man who has options, she starts to view you as another guy willing to do anything just to win her over. That desperation kills attraction. Attraction thrives on strength, confidence, and emotional control. When you chase, you lose all three. You're constantly responding to her mood, her schedule, and her behavior. You make yourself available at her convenience, hoping that your effort will somehow make her choose you. But women aren't attracted to men who beg for their attention. They're drawn to men who know their worth, who are selective, and who don't hand out their energy freely. A man who chases is telling her without saying a word that she's the prize, and he's hoping to be chosen. That's not attractive. That's weak. Imagine you meet a woman, and after a few good conversations, she starts pulling back slightly. Maybe she takes longer to reply or cancels plans. The average man starts texting more, calling more, trying harder to fix the situation. He believes more effort will turn things around. Instead, all it does is show her that he's more invested than she is. She feels no tension, no mystery, no reason to pursue, because he's doing all the work for her. Now flip the scenario. She pulls back and you calmly pull back as well. You don't chase. You don't beg. You simply match her energy. Suddenly, she's not sure where she stands with you. She starts thinking about you more. She wonders why you're not reacting like every other guy. That uncertainty sparks curiosity, and curiosity leads to renewed interest. The more you chase, the more she pulls away. The less you chase, the more space you give her to feel your absence. And that absence is often where attraction grows. Men need to stop thinking that effort equals attraction. It doesn't. Strength equals attraction. Self-respect equals attraction. And the man who refuses to chase instantly separates himself from the crowd. Her mind reacts to distance. 2. Her mind reacts to distance. Women are emotionally wired to respond to distance in a very specific way. When you pull back, when you create space, something shifts in her mind. She starts thinking about you, more questioning her own feelings, and wondering why you're not chasing her like most men would. This isn't a trick or a game, it's simply how human psychology works. When something feels slightly out of reach, the mind becomes more focused on it. The space you create isn't empty to her. It's filled with unanswered questions. Why isn't he calling? Why hasn't he reached out? Has he lost interest? That uncertainty keeps you active in her thoughts. Most men don't allow this process to happen. The moment they sense distance from a woman, they panic. They rush to fill the silence, afraid of losing her. But by doing that, they interrupt the very natural process that could have drawn her closer. Women need that space to feel the emotional tension that makes them question what they're feeling. Without that space, there's no room for her desire to grow. Distance also triggers a sense of value. When you pull back, you demonstrate that your attention isn't given away for free. You show that you have your own life, your own priorities, and that you're not dependent on her for emotional fulfillment. That self-control makes her see you as more desirable because you're not trying to force anything. Women are used to men who over-pursue. The guy who stays calm and allows her to come to him stands out. She begins to view him as someone who operates from strength, not desperation. That contrast is powerful because it creates an emotional tension she doesn't get from men who are always available. Distance also allows her to feel a form of loss, even if temporary. The possibility that you might actually move on makes her reassess your value. She starts to fear losing access to you, which increases her emotional investment. It's important to understand that this reaction isn't always instant. Sometimes it takes time for her to feel the absence and start reflecting on what she might lose. But the key is allowing that distance to work in your favor without interfering. When you stay calm, give space and maintain your self-respect, you allow her natural instincts to take over. Her mind does the work for you. The more she wonders about you, the more emotionally engaged she becomes. And that emotional engagement is what makes her start pursuing you instead. Loss creates urgency. 3. Loss creates urgency. One of the most powerful emotional triggers in any person, but especially in women, is the fear of loss. When a woman senses that she may lose access to you, her entire mindset shifts. What once felt casual or safe suddenly becomes urgent. She starts questioning whether she made the right decisions and begins feeling pressure to act before it's too late. The fear of losing something valuable creates a completely different kind of desire than simply having it easily available. This is where many men go wrong. They believe that constantly being present, always reaching out and showing consistent interest will make her appreciate them more. But in reality, it often has the opposite effect. When she knows you'll always be there, no matter how she acts, there's no urgency for her to invest or commit. Loss forces her to reconsider everything. When you pull back and she realizes you're willing to walk away, it breaks the comfort zone she's been living in. She's no longer in full control of the situation. Suddenly she starts wondering if someone else will get your attention, if you found someone better, or if you finally stopped waiting for her. These thoughts create emotional pressure, and that pressure often sparks stronger feelings than your constant presence ever could. Women naturally value what feels scarce. When you were always available, she didn't have to think about losing you. The moment you demonstrate that you're not afraid to step back and let her go, she feels that scarcity deeply. Now your time, attention, and energy aren't guaranteed, and that makes them far more valuable in her eyes. This urgency doesn't mean she instantly panics or comes running back every time. Sometimes it works slowly, eating at her thoughts over days or weeks, but that growing fear of loss keeps you in her mind. The uncertainty makes her replay the moment she had with you, question why you've distanced yourself, and wonder if she needs to act before you fully slip away. Most men never give women the opportunity to experience this kind of emotional urgency because they're too scared to step back. They fear that if they pull away, she'll simply move on. But the reality is, your willingness to walk away often triggers a level of respect and desire that chasing never will. The key is to allow her to feel that sense of loss while you remain calm, centered, and focused on your own life. You don't need to play games or create fake distance. Simply stop over-investing when she's not matching your energy. That space gives her mind room to recognize what she's risking by not choosing you. When she feels that urgency, the dynamic shifts completely. Now she's the one questioning, investing, and pursuing. Not because you forced it, but because the emotional pressure of potential loss made her wake up. Men who stay become replaceable. For men who stay become replaceable. Another lesson men need to learn is that staying too long in a situation where a woman isn't fully investing makes you lose value fast. The more you stick around without seeing clear effort from her side, the easier it becomes for her to view you as just another option. And once she sees you that way, you become completely replaceable in her mind. Many men think that by sticking it out, by being loyal, patient, and always available, they're proving their worth. They believe that the longer they stay, the more she'll appreciate them. But in reality, staying too long in these situations usually has the opposite effect. Instead of valuing your loyalty, she becomes comfortable with your presence and assumes you'll always be there no matter what she does. The moment a woman feels she has guaranteed access to you, she stops seeing you as a man she needs to secure. You're no longer a challenge, no longer a man of options, no longer a man she needs to earn. You're just there, always available, always waiting, always hoping. And that image strips you of the very qualities that create strong attraction in the first place. Attraction is built on value and tension. When you stay in her life without requiring equal investment, she knows she doesn't have to work for your attention. She can keep you around while entertaining other options, knowing you won't walk away. This makes her emotionally lazy because she has no fear of losing you. And without that fear, her attraction fades. The more available you are, the more predictable you become. Predictability feels safe, but safety rarely triggers deep desire. Women desire men who hold themselves to a standard, men who won't sit around waiting for someone to make up their mind. That strength communicates high value because it shows you respect yourself enough not to accept half-hearted effort. This is why you'll often see women chase the man who was willing to walk away while showing little interest in the man who stayed. The one who left maintained his self-respect and emotional independence. The one who stayed signaled that his self-worth depended on her choices. As a man, you have to recognize when your presence has turned into a comfort zone for her. If she's not meeting your effort, if she's stringing you along, if she's showing minimal interest while keeping you emotionally invested, you're becoming replaceable without even realizing it. The strongest position you can take is knowing when to walk away. By doing so, you force her to confront the reality of losing you. If she truly values you, that fear will push her to step up. If she doesn't, then you've protected yourself from wasting more time. Remaining too long isn't loyalty, it's self-sabotage. Respect yourself enough to leave before you become another man she easily replaces. Walking away triggers her ego. 5. Walking away triggers her ego. a woman's ego plays a much bigger role in attraction than most men realize. It's not always about love chemistry or compatibility. Sometimes it's simply about her sense of pride and control. And one of the fastest ways to challenge that ego is by walking away. When you walk away from a woman, especially after she's gotten used to your presence, it challenges her internal sense of power. She may have felt confident knowing you were always available, always responsive, always chasing. But the moment you remove yourself from that dynamic, her ego takes a hit. She's no longer in control of the situation, and that stings more than most men understand. Women often like to feel desired. Your attention reassures them of their attractiveness, value, and desirability. Even if they don't want a serious relationship with you, they still enjoy having you orbit around them because it feeds their ego. It's not always conscious or malicious. It's simply how human nature operates. When you pull that attention away, she feels the gap immediately. Not because she suddenly realizes she loves you, but because her ego is no longer being fed. She starts wondering why you're no longer chasing, why you're no longer giving her that consistent attention, and why you seem unaffected. That creates a type of discomfort she wasn't expecting. Let's say you've been texting back and forth with a woman for weeks. She's been hot and cold, some days very engaged, other days distant. You notice she's not really investing equally. Instead of continuing to initiate and keep the conversations alive, you stop. You don't get angry, you don't explain yourself. You simply become less available. Suddenly she starts reaching out more. She sends messages like, "Hey, haven't heard from you," or "Are you okay?" She's not necessarily trying to commit to anything serious, but her ego is reacting to the loss of attention. She wants to regain the feeling of being desired. Your absence created a void that her ego wants to fill. This is where most men fail. They see her renewed interest and immediately jump back in thinking they've won her over. But often she's not chasing you out of true desire. She's chasing you to restore her sense of control. If you fall right back into her pattern, you give her ego exactly what it wants and land right back where you started. The key is to maintain your emotional control, even when her ego flares up. Don't be cold, but don't reward. The ego with immediate access to you again. Let her prove her genuine interest first. Walking away isn't about playing games. It's about respecting yourself enough not to serve her ego at the expense of your own value. The man who knows how to walk away and stay away when necessary forces her to confront her own emotions, not just her pride. That's where real attraction has the chance to build. Scarcity turns you into the prize. 6. Scarcity turns you into the prize. One of the biggest shifts in a woman's mind happens when she starts to view you as the prize, and nothing makes that shift happen faster than scarcity. When you become less available, not by playing games, but by genuinely living your life on your own terms, you automatically become more desirable. Most men don't understand how powerful scarcity really is. They believe that being constantly present, always available and ready at any moment, shows loyalty and commitment. But for many women, that constant access reduces the emotional value of the man offering it. What's always available feels common. What's scarce feels valuable. Women are naturally drawn to what they feel they can't easily have. This isn't manipulation. It's basic human psychology. We all place more value on what feels rare. When your time, attention, and emotional energy aren't given freely to just anyone, it signals that you have standards, options, and self-respect. That alone makes a woman view you differently. The problem is most men give too much too soon. They overshare, pursue and overinvest before the woman has earned any of it. Instead of making her feel like she's won something valuable, they make themselves feel like a guaranteed option that kills attraction because it removes any sense of tension or excitement. Scarcity doesn't mean being distant or rude. It simply means that you don't hand over your attention and availability automatically. You require effort from her side as well. You create an environment where she has to invest to earn more of you, rather than receiving everything up front. When a woman senses that you're not always there, that you have other priorities, and that your life isn't revolving around her, it forces her to work harder to secure your attention. She starts to view you as a man who values himself highly, someone who isn't easy to win over, that makes her desire your attention even more. This is exactly why some women become more attracted after a man steps back. The scarcity makes her realize that your presence wasn't guaranteed, and that losing it would mean losing something valuable. That realization increases her emotional investment, and often makes her chase you in ways she wouldn't if you were always readily available. For men, the lesson is simple. Stop giving away your energy for free. Let her feel your absence. Let her experience what life feels like without your attention constantly filling her emotional space. When she sees that you're not desperate for her approval, she begins to view you as the prize, not the pursuer. Scarcity isn't about playing hard to get. It's about living your life with purpose, confidence, and self-respect. When you do that, women recognize your value naturally, and the man who is perceived as valuable is always the one who holds the power. Her investment begins after you leave. 7. Her investment begins after you leave. Most men are so focused on trying to make women invest while they're still chasing. They put in endless effort, attention, and energy up front, hoping that if they do enough, she'll finally give something back. But that rarely happens. In fact, the majority of her real emotional investment doesn't begin until you're no longer trying to win her over. This is where a lot of men need to wake up. You keep thinking that the more you give her, the more she'll appreciate you. But the truth is, as long as you're doing all the work, she has no reason to invest. She knows you're already fully in. There's no risk, no challenge, and no reason for her to step up. Women don't invest emotionally when they're being catered to. They invest when they feel the possibility of losing something valuable. When you walk away, when you stop trying to convince her, when you finally let go of the outcome, that's when the shift happens. Suddenly, she's the one who has to question what she's losing. She starts wondering if she missed out on something real. That's when she starts replaying the conversations, rethinking her decisions, and even feeling regret. The emotional energy she never gave you while you were available starts building after you leave. Many men never allow this process to happen because they refuse to let go. They stay trapped in endless conversations, checking in or waiting for her to make up her mind. But by doing that, you rob her of the chance to feel your absence. You keep the door wide open, which makes her feel like she doesn't need to put in any effort to keep you. The simple reality is this: your willingness to walk away is what creates the space for her to invest. It shows strength, confidence, and self-respect, all qualities that trigger genuine desire in women. If she values you, she will feel that loss and respond. If she doesn't, you've saved yourself from wasting more time on someone who was never serious about you. Men need to stop fearing the act of leaving. Walking away isn't giving up. It's setting a boundary. It's drawing a clear line between chasing and allowing her to step up. You're not punishing her, you're simply protecting your own value. When you finally walk away, you give her the opportunity to feel the weight of her decisions, and often that weight is what motivates her to finally invest in you. Not because you begged, but because she chooses to. Summer. At the core of all this is one reality that most men don't want to accept. The moment a woman feels like she has full control over you, she loses interest, but the moment she fears she's losing you, her desire often explodes. That's the part that makes this dynamic so controversial. Men are told to be kind, patient, and endlessly available, but very few understand that attraction is rooted in tension, not comfort. The more she feels secure in your presence without having to invest, the less she values you. And yet, the moment she senses you slipping away by your choice, her entire emotional response changes. This isn't about playing games, it's about understanding how power shifts in attraction. The man who can walk away creates the tension that forces her to choose him. Not because he begged, but because she feels the weight of potentially losing him. Now, I want to hear from you. Drop your experiences in the comments, share what you've been through. Whether you've dealt with this exact situation or you're currently in it right now, I read through the comments personally and respond to as many as I can. Your story could help another man who's silently going through the same thing. We're not here just for talk. We're building men who finally understand how this game really works. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. If you found this video, please share, comment the video and subscribe to my channel, Master Stoic. Thank you for watching this video. Thanks.